Hey everyone, it's Jeff from the Telecoaster 94 Music Channel. And for those of you who have been longtime viewers on here, you may remember several videos that I've made regarding my custom HO scale model of the Silver Streak from the 1976 film of the same name. The last time I made a video in depth on this was in 2023. And since then, I have decided to completely rebuild the train from the engines to the cars. Simply because I actually wanted to get into DCC modeling just for this train. Most of my other trains I still prefer to run in DC, but I wanted to have the sounds in these engines. And after looking at what the cost would be to put them into the Atlases, which requires some tinkering with the chassis, I figured it'd be a little bit cheaper to go ahead and just rebuild them again and get ones that either had DCC installed or they were DCC ready. Initially, I settled on a pair of Intermountain FP7s, which had a lot more detail than the Atlases did. And they worked okay for a while, but the lead locomotive did have some mechanical issues. One thing, it would not run in reverse without the circuit board on it smoking, and I don't know why, and I never really got into deep research onto how to fix the problem. The engine ran fine moving forward, but if it would move backwards, it just would not do. It would seize up and stop. But not only that, the Intermountains did not have excellent pulling power. They were pretty poor pullers, at least for me. And instead of trying to get into getting them fixed and getting, and all that stuff, I decided to just sell them and move on to another model and see if I could get something a little bit better. So fast forward to January of last year, I saw that Walther's Proto was offering several CP rail locomotives, including 4070 was available. And they were either DCC equipped or DCC ready, and since I couldn't justify paying the $600 for 4070 plus a B unit, I decided to buy two engines that were DCC ready. Numbers 4072 and 4068. And detailing those up was really simple because they were already in the Action Red paint scheme, so very little work had to be done on the trains, and I'll explain just, a little bit extra things that I did do to them once I bought them. But those have proven to be really great trains, runners too. But I didn't get the DCC installed in them right away. However, in September of 2025, I came across a video from fellow YouTuber Red Oak Trains, and he did a sound system DCC installation in a Tyco 460 for Red Dead Railroad is also on here. I'll try to include links to both their channels on here. And anyway, Red Oak Trains said at the end of that video that he was taking commissions to do DCC installation if somebody wanted it done. So I reached out to him and we talked over email and asked him if he would do this for me, and he agreed. So I sent my engines off to him, and he did a fantastic job of getting these installed. And once I got the engines back, I was very, very happy with them, and so I wanted to show them off to you guys. As far as the passenger cars are concerned, pretty much all the old River Rossi cars I had been using, I got rid of. I basically upgraded to a mostly Rapido-based consist with a few other extra cars from Walther's mixed in, and I'll explain that too when I got the whole in the next part of the video. And lastly, in addition to doing those things, I also decided for the fun of it one day to make a runaway train version of the consist. And so in this next part of the video, I'll show you guys the whole train setup. We'll go through the sounds, we'll go through everything and what I did, and I'll show you the runaway consist that I have as well. In addition to another custom little diesel that I built related to Silver Streak. So without any further ado, let's get into that next part of the video. And here is the Silver Streak all set up on a temporary track table that I have just for this video. I still don't have the space to get a full layout going like I want to, but we'll get there someday. But for the purposes of this video, it's pretty good. It's actually the track that I normally run. This is about half of what it normally is in terms of length, but it's alright. So with the engines here, these Walthers Proto engines, I've got to say, are some of the best offerings out there in the market today that doesn't really break the bank so much in terms of cost. I would say these are, in terms of looks, are very close to the offerings that Rapido was putting out there a few years back. And at least in my opinion, these are probably a lot easier to get right now than the ones Rapido made. I'm talking about the CP rail scheme, not the AMRoad ones that they did put out for a brief time. But anyway, so these engines here, I didn't do a whole lot of cosmetic changing to them. As mentioned before, they were already in the CP rail action scheme, so all I had to do was paint over the CP rail multi-mark, the road logo, and change the numbers and decal that over. I used some flat red paint from Tamiya, and it did a pretty good job of masking where the multi-mark was and the numbers so that they didn't bleed through. The grab irons originally were white, but if you look at the ones in the film, they were black. So I went and took a nice marker there, and a paint marker, and painted them as close as I could, although I didn't get the edges, and didn't want to risk getting that on the engines, red paint. But anyway, painted them black to match them in the film, and in my opinion, it looks a little bit better that way. The only other thing that I could not do that's not prototypical is that these all come with ditch lights. The Walthers modeled these trains after, I think, the 1977 era, prior to the early 80s, and of course, if I remember correctly, the Canadian government mandated that all locomotives on the railroads in Canada would have ditch lights mounted to the front of them. So I guess it would be somewhat accurate, since Silver Streak was filmed in '76, and then the following year the engines in the film, as well as the other engines on CP's roster, did receive ditch lights. So while it doesn't quite match the engine in the film, it's okay. I did kind of paint them up to try to camouflage them a little bit, and I did actually paint over the actual bulbs there so that when this thing is running, the light doesn't shine through. I don't think there's a way to remove these that would without causing damage to the front of it cosmetically, and I didn't want to try to attempt anything, or worse, mess up the functionality of the engine, so I just did a little cosmetic cover-up, but it looks pretty good. We got some cab detail figures in here, correct. I actually believe this is an Nathan K3L horn on it, Sinclair radio antenna. Excellent winterization hatches. The only thing I did too, of course, and like the engine in the film, and I did this with my Atlas locomotives as well, I added some weathering dust to the roof of 4067 so they would match the engine in the film, and sprayed a clear coat over both the engines to seal the decals in and to keep this looking pretty good. As far as the number boards go, I know that they don't match what's on the side of the cab. I have no idea how to switch these out to show the correct numbers. I mean, I know I could take the decals that came with the AMRoad set and cover up that too, but I really like that the number boards were lit when I run this engine, and I don't know how that would look. If there's anyone out there who knows about if you can possibly switch out the numbers there, let me know in the comments below. Because I'm just curious to see if there's a way you could change this without messing up the number board, but I might just leave it if there's nothing else that can be done. Other detail parts are really cool. You got the water tank down here. Just awesome. There's not much more I can say, but it looks really, really awesome. I absolutely love the way these engines look. It's just Walthers really did an excellent job with these. You've all seen this car before. This is the baggage dorm that was featured in my last video. So nothing to say about that. The rest of the consist here you can see. So I replaced all of my Rivarossi sleepers and coaches and my dining car, as well as the park car, with proper Rapido cars, I'm sorry. So right now, Rapido only has available the sleeper cars that are out there you can get. So I purchased 3 of them. Only one of these was actually in the CP Rail Red, which is Elgin Manor here. This was in, Burton Manor was in a VIA scheme, and the Amherst Manor back here was also in a VIA rail scheme, so I just repainted the running stripe red instead of blue, and it looks really good. So the coaches and the dining car of this train are Walther's mainline coaches. They got full interiors in. There's no lights in these though. But Rapido just closed the ordering deadline for their Bud coach cars. So whenever those get made and those come out, I placed an order, pre-order that is, for 2 of them. So whenever those come out, I'll be replacing these with the proper Rapido cars. Dining car here, also Walther's mainline, pretty close to the one in the film, except this one has a door on this side here, a vestibule, which I don't think the one in the film did have. I'm not too sure about that. You don't see a whole lot of the left side of the train in the film, but it's okay though. At least if Rapido ever offers one of these, I'll probably get a dining car for that too. And of course, the end of the train, we have the park car. This was the hardest piece to find. So when I was re-updating this train, I was trying to find a proper park car that looked like the one from Canadian Pacific, but I could not find one. So after doing some eBay digging a couple years ago, I found a seller who was listing a Canadian Pacific maroon scheme from the 50s park car. And so I went ahead and made a bid on it, won the car, and so now I have a proper park car. The only thing I had to do was paint over the maroon stripe on the side, paint the Action red scheme stripe there, and put Kokanee Park on it. It was good to go. It's a real nice car, so it's nice to have a proper dome car for the train. Another thing I wanted to show you guys is my runaway consist that I made about 3 years ago. I've been wanting to try to recreate some of the scenes from the film in HO scale. I already made one video with recreating the Rockdale train station scene where the Silver Streak flies past, and I really liked how that turned out. So I thought, how hard would it be for me to try to recreate some other scenes in the film? And one of those things I wanted to do was, try to do the runaway train sequence. So I don't know when I'm ever going to make that video, but maybe someday. Well, it all depends. But either way, I thought it'd be cool to have a separate consist to run with the runaway train cars. So what I did is, as I was already upgrading to better and more prototypical passenger cars, I had sold off my River Rossies, and I kind of wish I would have kept them now because I wouldn't have had to buy replacements. But hindsight's 20/20. So I went on eBay and started buying more River Rossi passenger cars like I had done before, and I just cut out the vestibule doors and took some brass detail passenger car steps and glued them on, and all in all I think they turned out pretty good. It was a little difficult to try to get these perfect. It was not easy. In fact, these cars are very brittle, so I had to be careful with how much pressure I was putting on with the knife and the blade, and so that nothing else would break off, because I come very close. In fact, one car I had to throw away because as I was cutting the door, this entire piece just broke off and I couldn't glue it back on, so I had to throw that car away, unfortunately, and buy another one. But I think it turned out really well. Another little detail thing I added here to this car, Burton Manor, was during the Harris Mill Junction shootout scene, Johnson, who has Hilly held hostage in a compartment, he busts out a window to shoot at the feds once the gunfight starts. And if you watch the film really closely during the train chase sequence, you'll notice that the window in this car is missing, and it does stay removed. In a behind-the-scenes photo I did see, they put a temporary breakaway window so that it would shatter, and then after filming was done, they put the original window pane back in. But I decided to leave some of the detail work here just to show that there was broken glass, because if I took it completely out, I figured that nobody would be able to see that the glass was even missing. So that's why I left that there, and it looks pretty cool. I had considered to do that to this dining car as well, because that window gets broken too. I still might do that, but we'll see. What I'd really like to do is get some little minifigures, like 3D printed figures, and have them in the vestibules to uncouple the cars. Get a George, a Hilly, a Grover, and a Ralston. But there is absolutely nothing available out there right now that would be able to be a decent stand-in. So I guess I'm left with the 3D printing option, although I have no access to a printer and wouldn't even know how to make the files. So if anybody down there knows how to make custom figures, give me a shout out down there. But anyway, that is the consist of the train. So without any further ado, let's get this thing running and let's talk about the sounds. And here's the engine with all the DCC sounds set up. Let's go ahead and give you the horn. I actually gotta say I do love that horn. That is a dead on for the Silver Streak. That's an 8th K3L, by the way. I guess in my research originally I thought that the train had carried a Holden M3H, but listening to the horn in the film and with actual video footage of 4070 in her commuter service years, it actually carried a K3L, not an M3H, so that was actually something new to learn. But here's the bell. Alright, without any further ado, let's get this engine running. Hope you enjoy some running. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little running of the Silver Streak, and the last thing I wanted to show you guys before ending this video is another model related to the film, kinda sorta, is this is a custom model that I made of the 4070 after she was sold by CP to CTCUM in Montreal for commuter service in the late 70s, or it might have been the early 80s. But this was the first paint scheme that the engine went through in the 80s, and it was renumbered to number 1300, which she still retains today, although she is currently no longer operable. And from what I understand is that there is some hope, though, that the engine was purchased by somebody who intends to either restore it for cosmetic purposes to be displayed, or to run it. If it's going to be a running condition, it's going to be a lot of money and a lot of time, considering that the prime mover is missing from the locomotive at this current point. But whoever supposedly bought it, I've been trying to keep up with the news and stuff related to 4070, but whoever has purchased her intends to have the engine restored into its AMRoad livery, so hopefully someday this happens. Currently it's landlocked in Montreal, or I'm sorry, Quebec is where it's at, excuse me, or Quebec, sorry. So hopefully she'll be able to be moved relatively soon, we'll see. But how I made this model real quick, this was actually the first time I had ever hand painted a model train ever. No spray painting was used. The decals were custom. I had these custom made for me. And the engine was hand painted. And this is using an old Atlas, same as my original Silver Streaks. I haven't run it much because I need to find some passenger cars for it, but someday I'll get it up on the track and going. The ditch lights, I did these ditch lights on it. They are non-functional. They are just straight up cosmetic, but still pretty cool nonetheless. Well, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video today. I'll see you guys in the next one.